having my house burglarized and having my dog stolen definitely made me question my security. It made me more paranoid. I'm totally suspicious of everybody. It's a residential area, working class neighborhood, not a bad area. Most of the people on my street are families and whatnot, but you know, you have your pockets of people that aren't, and I kind of feel like someone just saw that we moved in, didn't have a security system, watched the comings and goings and saw when the car wasn't there and just took advantage. I only lived there like a month, 2 months, whenever this happened. There's no way this happened. Like, you kind of, like, you doubt that it's the worst case scenario, which is somebody else has been here that's not supposed to be there. And the first thing I thought was Sammy. I'm like, where's the dog? 'Cause the dog was more than a dog. You have to understand, anyone who has an animal kind of knows that. And I always likened it to, like, I felt like, I mean, an attachment like somebody would have to a child. He didn't want to go with you. I'm sure he went with you because you took him outside on his leash, and he was probably like, people, you know, I mean, he's a friendly dog, he wasn't gonna say no, but, yeah, I don't think they forced it, but at the same time, you know, I mean, he didn't want to leave his mom and dad, so. Dog was more than a dog, you have to understand. Anyone who has an animal kind of knows that. I look and the door's open, I'm like, oh shit, somebody either let the dog out to be cruel, or they took him. I never thought somebody would take an animal. That's really like the hardest thing for me to wrap my head around. I really realized that like whoever took him, it was intentional. It's not like he ran off. It's not like anybody's gonna return him for a reward, because whoever has him took him. And he was like my husband and I's kid. The first thing I'm thinking, it's a purebred dog, he's unneutered, like someone totally took him for their own like sick, maniacal purposes. And yeah, so I start freaking out, screaming, crying. I checked the shelter and the Humane Society like ardently for a few weeks and then just gave up. I mean, it's one of those things, if he hadn't gotten picked up by then, you know, God knows, he could be anywhere. Like, it's like someone has a little piece of my life that they're looking at, and that's really upsetting. And of course, they let me down with the disturbing news of, you know, well, you're probably not gonna get your dog back. So the first thing I thought was like, you know, I mean, not to be candid or anything, but fuck this. I was like, I'm gonna move back with my mom. Like, I'm moving back to Bloomington, out in the country, to her house where it's like safe, and the only people that are gonna come up in our yard in the middle of the night are deer. You know, I mean, you can cap them legally, so it's not really even a big deal. Like, I mean, I just, like, it did for a second. I was like, no, this is not home. This is like some ridiculous, like, house in the hood that we bought, you know, and now I'm stuck here, you know, dealing with the repercussions. I went ahead and got a burglar alarm security system. Even the mere presence of a security system in like a home/business, the signs and the stickers alone are enough to keep somebody from messing with it. I mean, that's basically the whole idea. It's not that somebody's like actually gonna try and break it, it's gonna go whoop, 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 they're not even gonna get that far. So it's basically just hardening the target, or creating, you know, a guardian in a sense, and you know, a situation where one is absent. The loss of like his companionship, on top of the fact that, yeah, he was a total security blanket when things got rough for me. And when he was gone, I was like, oh shit, what am I gonna do? Like, my little man is gone, like, oh my God. And it's funny because the one thing that really was vivid to me is the fact that it bothered me for a really long time that somebody else was enjoying his company. Like, somebody else was enjoying like all the cute things that he would do, and I couldn't anymore. The dog getting taken definitely made me, yeah, just question my security. I think before I had kind of a false sense of like, oh, well, this is my house, I own it, nobody's gonna come up in here and, you know, mess with anything. I didn't worry about closing my blinds, things like that. Now it's like I come inside, I lock the door, I make sure all the blinds are pulled if it's dark in there. I try not to like mingle with too many people on the street, so, you know, yeah, it's definitely changed me as a person as far as, I don't know, I wouldn't even say more as a maturity level, but more of just like, it's like scarred me a little bit. Not to be dramatic, but yeah, it totally has. And the fact that somebody is sick and like depraved enough to take someone's animal. When I tell people that still to this day, they're like, are you serious? Someone took your pet. I'm like, oh yeah, like people steal children. They kidnap kids from parks. I'm suspicious. Like, I'll like hear something in the middle of the night and I like run over the blinds and I'm like, man, what are you doing outside, you know? I'll peep it out my windows, but usually it's like somebody walking down the street from the store, or I don't know. Never found Sammy, and I just kind of hope that like wherever he is, he's not being mistreated, and he's not like, I don't know, been like abused. missing an eye or anything horrible like that. I hope that like someone stole him and like gave him to their kid or their mother as like a companion, because he was an awesome little dog.